Up and down the street he bounces, waiting for someone to pass. He's a guy with a special problem, he's got a basketball ass. Basketball, basketball, basketball ass. Basketball, basketball, basketball ass.
Hello, Music Multiverse listeners, and welcome back to Beyond Your Radio. It's Unknown Sundays. Happy New Year. This is the first one of 2026. It is now time to talk about another band or artist in the Music Multiverse that might be relatively unknown, missed, that some of our watchers, collectors might not know about, or a nostalgic rewind for some to go, oh my gosh, now I remember that. But again, this is a rabbit hole to go down, past and or present. If this is your first time here, obviously I welcome you. And for those of you that have been joining us for a long time, welcome back for another season. This is an extension of the article sections of beyondyourradio.com. And yes, I did write a full detailed written piece to this because it's very close to me. So look for that. There's a lot of great links in this because there's a lot of great individuals attached to this. If you're not subscribed, please think about doing so. Please feel free to leave a comment. I always respond, and I love the music banter. And, of course, if you like what you're seeing here on this video, click the thumbs up. Now, this Unknown Sunday is near and dear to my heart. And it happened in a field near a gate outside Barrie, Ontario's Molson Park at the time, which I'm going to assume is more than the name for the ice rink of the other side of the tree line. Why does it start there? Well, it's an interesting story starting with the Great Canadian Party in 1992 in celebration of Canada Day, something they really don't do anymore, I don't think, or recall. I believe it was already in the attendance maybe of about, they say, about 100,000 Canadians at that point, which is not true by any stretch of the imagination because my wife and Jeff Young were both there, so that's -3 because we're not Canadian. Of course, I'm kidding. We were there amongst the first timers at this truly unique festival where the temperature on July 1st, 1992 was unpleasant to say the least. We were, not exactly thrilled either that when you get to the park, you don't get to go in. And really, there's not a lot of trees, so except along one line where most of the nourishment was. So they don't exactly let you into the park right off. And we took the 2-hour jaunt early so we would arrive on time, I guess. Don't want to arrive on time, but early so that we could kind of figure out where we wanted to be in the melee of these, nearly 100,000 Canadians. So we're waiting outside the gate, which I really can't recall if we could have just moved through if we wanted to. Technically, it's not gated off, I don't think, all that well, but so everybody just stayed there. But it was a gate nonetheless, and there were a platform of rocks that just off to our left. And I'm sure if this was a United States venue, we would have already been inside, tailgating, tenting, or whatever. But this is Canada, and we have to certainly act with decorum so they don't know we're there on this sacred holiday. So we're kind of incognito. In the heat, the waiting, the wondering why we might when we might actually be let in. But suddenly up comes this 3-piece to set up on the rock platform. And you're kind of thinking, what? This is the unwanted, the unexpected opening act that we wound up staying to listen the entire set, even though the gates were open. This is a story that winds up involving campus radio, Eugene Levy, Kabuki Improv, Cabaret, parody, and comedy band that actually made more funnies than Spinal Tap, who was actually playing at the event that day. Still to this day, in all my listings, a one of a kind. This is Corky and the Juice Pigs on Unknown Sunday 2025. When they say you don't need much for a band, let's take that with a huge grain of salt, as this was the late 1980s, and Phil Nichol, guitar and vocal, Greg Neale, mandolin and vocals, and Sean Cullen, harmonica and vocals. From Windsor, Ontario, were definitely not that much instrumentally. But they were what they were together, which was extremely clever, comical, and nearly original in their mindset of music making. No, they were not making parodies of songs like Weird Al. They were parodying an individual or a genre of music and then making an original song in accordance with their comical desires and their fairly improv mojo, which they learned prior. Yes, figure yourself watching a more live concert band that's playing in a Whose Line Is It Anyway kind of setup. The crafted songs could range from completely in this guise that would get them on radio, but they could also be a noisy and fart dick humor that would work its way much better live and often noise improv. And no, genre or famous stars were off limits, even as sacred an icon as Bryan Adams or Neil Young when parodied in Janitor. As just that, and but one that's dressed up like Kate Smith and shows off his sausage collection. Yeah, now you get where I'm going. Surf rock, hard rock, whatever, and the college radio in Windsor ate it up, and it gave them a chance to enter a traveling show contest that was actually hosted by Eugene Levy, which is where they first used the name Corky and the Juice Pigs. All of this going on without any of our knowledge here in the States, as information wasn't passing through phones at this time. We didn't get much music on TV as often. Maybe if you got lucky with your rabbit eaters on Global, you could catch it. So we were not aware of any of their crazy kabuki performances either. But we will get to what we became very much aware of from a little bit here in this sideshow freak trio. Started with an acoustic guitar, a harmonica, and dance move timing and positions that were thankfully subdued due to their tiny stage. It's hilariously, I'm sure their prep work would have seemed like a grade school level, but in the context of the songwriting and facial expressions, they were mesmerizing. But put them on the Super Bowl halftime show somewhere. Oh, wait, they're Canadian. I guess we can't do that, right? Oh, yes, we can. No one will look away when they're from the cringing, laughing, and calling for an ambulance because your grandfather can't breathe. He's laughing so hard. Mad TV in the late 1995 to 2009s, if you don't know when they came on, was basically a late night show in the vein of Saturday Night Live. Well, they knew what they could add, because they put Corky and the Juice Pigs on in 1996, 97, I believe, in doses to their show. And hell, Quincy Jones was the executive producer. So I'm wondering if he actually interviewed the band. Yes, the band had a slot on the United States late night television from 1997 to about 1998. Theater is what this sort of screams, as the band trio seemed to understand the facial expressions necessary and the intermingling on stage required to kind of accentuate the lack of things and accentuate the lyrical positivity, hilarity that was happening. Perhaps that's why two of them have direct ties still to the avenue of stage, knowing the brevity of such lunacy. You know, you're not going to be Weird Al, but we'll get there. When we had seen them live, it wasn't until later that year that they finally caught a radio break. Eskimo, from their major studio debut in 1993, hit the airwaves with not only comedic and radio success, but also controversy for some. The seemingly harmless harmony play on an Eskimo realizing he may be the only gay one of his tribe.
I'm the only gay Eskimo in my tribe. Well, me and Knockfluck Chuck Buck, we both like blubber. But me, I've got this crazy fetish for rubber. I'm the only gay Eskimo in my tribe. I make a wish wish on the northern lights that I could find a decent pair of whaleskin tights. I'm the only gay Eskimo in my tribe. And the seals, they sing now.
Written by Nichols, became a slight hit, increasing the band's popularity, allowing us in the United States to finally get a professional hearing of the band. That's right. Now I had an album to seek out. The next time was HMV in Canada. And boy, God, did I, right? Next visit, I had it, and we listened to it straight through, roaring. Not only the songs, but this pitches and lyrical mayhem at the expense of extremely well-done satire. But at the PSAs. That's right, people. The band nurtured their public service announcements to make them a bit produced, a little better than their production. And the Neale, they just nailed these down. There's Torsos for Tots and Slice Me Off a Chunk, as well as Earl the Incredible Squirrel. There's even a game show announcer bits too, which are absolutely hilarious. And while we knew Eskimo, what really sealed the deal for me was Psycho, where the band puts themselves creepily into the mind of a psychopathic killer. Here's the sketch from that particular song, including the janitor as well from Mad TV. But I think now you'll understand where this is all coming from, and I won't have to quote the lyrics.
The song we like to play for you now is a song that used to be one of Corky's favorites when we played in the Charles Manson 5. Psychopathic killer in the summertime. Psychopathic killer, oh yeah, oh yeah. Psychopathic killer in the summertime. Psychopathic killer, oh yeah, oh yeah. I want to poke your eyes out with that knife I found in your back. Psychopathic killer in the summertime. Psychopathic killer, oh yeah, oh yeah. Psychopathic killer in the summertime.
Psychopathic killer, oh yeah, oh yeah. I want to find your dismembered body in a garbage bag.
Killer in the summertime. Psychopathic killer, oh yeah, oh yeah. Psychopathic killer in the summertime.
Psychopathic killer, oh yeah, oh yeah.
I'd like to put on my Speedo and go swimming in your children's blood.
Considering the look given to Sean Cullen when he delivers his lyrical solo. Pants is released in 1994, basically the follow-up. And while they managed to gain and again creep out with a floor-waxing, sausage-collecting janitor tribute to the styles of their beloved Neil Young, the album might have either come too fast or just with a realization that there's only so much farther this kind of musicality can be taken without serious consideration of the changing environment and the music multiverse around them. Obviously, someone like them today might not work. I was bummed there were no more PSAs on this. There's no skits, but I understand the potential pushback. Been there, done that, and creative block that could happen. The three men, if you look at their picture and their live videos, you can feel their brotherhood, their bond, and enjoyment toward their profession and what they were doing. But despite what we see and the doing what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, cliche, there comes a time, yes, Neil Young'd it right there. There just comes a time when it ends. Let's start with Sean Cullen and his vivacious comedic approach, tone, and noise comedy that can certainly draw the attention of the room. I think that's pretty much his stance. He has a long-standing relationship with the Bare Naked Ladies, whom Corky and the Juice Pigs opened for in those early years, which still remains to this day, from what I can tell, considering no one tells the nativity story quite the same as in the same way. And you can ask Kevin Kern if you know. He is still a comedian through and through. Voice comedic actor, whether quirky or darkly comedic. He had a wonderful stint on the stage in The Producers, which garnered him a nomination for a Dora Mayer Award. From radio shows to late night television, and even owning a coffee chain that isn't Tim Hortons in Canada, Sean Cullen continues to be a thriving creative force, multifaceted entrepreneur in a way, connected to the craft. Even getting to be the inventive but creepy twin brother voice of Barnaby A and Barnaby B in the Netflix original The Willoughbys. as well as a guest starring role in a popular Murdoch mystery, playing Joseph Rudyard Kipling, who actually wrote The Jungle Book. Now, Rush's Geddy Lee has been on this show as well. Greg Neale put teaching on hiatus to be with the bandmates for a wonderful satirical and comedic 10-year plus. He returned to the more important spotlight of teaching after the television credits of Band TV, Sketchcom, Carolyn's Comedy Hour, and Disney Adventure, A Little Off the Top, and London Underground. I honestly think if there's a chance for a docudrama on Gordon Downey of the Tragically Hip, he would have been able to play him years ago, as he was almost like a spitting image of Gord. But that's just a side note from my useless mindset. Then there's Phil Nichol. Phil Nichol, maybe the backbone of it. He was probably the one who knew most what he was going to be and what he was going to do. A love of live acting. And at that point, and that point of his life, a comedian. Doesn't matter if it's acting or songwriting, singing, or improv. He was born to do this, and he found a way from college to college radio to live comedy, band sketch, a guest appearance on the Graham Norton Show, which is on our website. You can click and watch that as he just rips into the Dukes of Hazzard, who are the guests of the show, to of obviously surviving divorce, a skiing accident, and New Zealand. If you want to read more about him, and even on stage again in 12 Angry Men, where just apparently from what I read and everything, amazing performance that got them from where they were to playing in other areas. The experience of that reaffirmed his love and the blessing of acting, and a gig with Christian Slater. I wonder if people know who he is, but as Susie Q would say on the panel, look it up. And that was in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, a sold-out event in London, confirming his move, his station, and survival in an incredible career. I've also included in the profile, his profile link, what the agent would utilize to showcase what he's done to get him gigs, so you can look at that. He's now a multifaceted showman, not only acting, writing, producing, and even directing. He seems to have an ear, an eye, and a talent for bringing productions together on the most of the, well, we'll call it insane, probable scale of impossibilities. From this character, Bobby Spade, which is sort of semi-fictional, not fictional, which is maybe an alter ego, and then to Monty Python's Holy Flying Circus, where he actually plays one of the Python alumni. While I will always maintain that Corky and the Juice Pigs was one of the best comedic band trios in North America at the time, and maybe all time, I would be a fool also to put them above that Al guy with his parodies by the gallon. However, I will leave you with this public service announcement in the band's honor. Hello, my name is Mark Kulagowski, and a lot of you might remember me as that stupid YouTuber who touted the greatest band, Corky and the Juice Pigs, a simple band with offensive lyrics and genre parodies that made hilarious fun of a lot of people. They even went after Clint Eastwood, Gary Coleman, Ernest Borgnine, and Earl, the Incredible Squirrel. But there's a darker side of me that is now actually exposed due to this silly Unknown Sundays 2026 article and YouTube cast. And that's the fact that I have no musical taste at all. And hundreds of thousands of people around the world are born with musical taste that sucks each year, and the number is growing thanks to TikTok and other shitty places. Imagine going to school, humming a Richard Marx song, and be beaten to death in the schoolyard. Imagine having a dinner date with a beautiful woman and putting on Skinny Puppy. Imagine being on Final Jeopardy and guessing Corey Hart as the singer who made Sunglasses famous. But there's hope. So give generously to people with no musical taste at all. P.O. Box 8675309, Sea of Tranquility, New York, 10,000s. I don't know if that's maniacs or not. So they can help these audio impaired individuals reach out and not succumb to the Bee Gees or ABBA. so they can lift their ears proudly above the din of three-court structure into Prague. No, not the country. Because somewhere there's a kid with headphones on, with nothing between his ears but bop. Corky and the Juice Pig albums, those in my collection are in, I'll mention. Buck a Song in 1992 was actually the first record, and it has some of those that are on the next record, Corky and the Juice Pigs in 1993, which is the major studio debut, and I have that. Pants in 1994, which I have as well. Hope you enjoyed the holiday seasons. Happy New Year. I can't wait to give you next Sundays. But until then, we're on the web at beyondyourradio.com, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, as well as this wonderful thing called YouTube. It's all about albums, bands, artists, anything we can get our hands on. I've got articles, videos, a podcast coming soon. Go Beyond Your Radio with us, a real music appreciation channel. Thanks for watching, and happy listening.